In this video, we will continue to talk about ENSCAPE and we're gonna talk about the interface of the software. Now, in the previous video, we saw how we can download, install ENSCAPE and how we can set up and run it into SketchUp in this case, but we said also that it's similar in other software. Now, this is gonna be a really easy lesson. It's gonna be just an introduction, but we're gonna publish more lessons after this. And this is for those of you who are really beginners, perhaps even in SketchUp. So if you're interested in SketchUp, you can check the SketchUp video course. And about the ENSCAPE video course, we're gonna start real easy, real simple. We actually do that in every video course so that everybody can follow. So we're gonna start with really simple things and then we're gonna increase the level a little bit. Now, ENSCAPE is not a complex software, it's not a complex plugin to use. So it will be really easy, really user friendly, and amazing in terms of performance and simplicity. So we are going to skip here the how to get started panel that is going to appear every time we're going to open up ENSCAPE. If you want, you can also set this to not to be shown again, so you can check this checkbox. But for the moment, I will keep it on again for those of you that can see it. It's really helpful, especially at the beginning. It's going to show you how to move, walk, fly, look around, orbit, and so on. But we're going to see that later on. Now, you can just press play here and run the ENSCAPE renderer. So you can like divide your view here in your screen into two parts. So one is going to be your ENSCAPE view. Here I can place it, for example, on the left, and this other here will be our SketchUp view. So you can do this, and if you have two screens, it's even better. So we're gonna see what are the main tools. Now I'm gonna click and drag the toolbar right here. Remember to open this one here, just right click on the ENSCAPE toolbar, and that's it. So if you don't see it, right click and open up the ENSCAPE toolbar, and there you go. So I'm gonna place it right here for the moment. Now let's talk about this toolbar here and how the main tools can be found inside this toolbar. So first one we saw is the start of the ENSCAPE. So when you click here, it's going to get what you have in SketchUp and bring it here. You can see the grass in ENSCAPE looks more realistic than the grass that you see in SketchUp, because SketchUp is really technical, doesn't have those realistic effects. Now you also see here that when I move around in ENSCAPE, I can move freely. This is not affecting the SketchUp view, but when I get back to SketchUp and I start to move around in SketchUp, these two should synchronize. If they don't, you need to go here and synchronize the views from here. So right now you can see that if I move the SketchUp view, I'm gonna also affect the ENSCAPE. If I move the ENSCAPE, that's the SketchUp is not gonna be affected, but as soon as I move here, it's gonna get back to the synchronized views. So you can also deactivate this and work with two separate views if you want, depending on your preference. So live updates. Here you can say, okay, if I want to have those two synchronized, so this means that if you can see I cannot select this asset right here, but I can select it into SketchUp. So if I move it, for example, here in SketchUp, and I move it right here, now you can see it's not moving there in ENSCAPE. And this is because we just deactivated the live update. So you either keep the situation as it is, and when you're finished, you can then reactivate this, or you can keep it always on, so it's gonna be again synchronized. So if I move this around, it's gonna be changed in real time. So you can work live in SketchUp, and you're gonna see the effect directly and instantaneously here in ENSCAPE. So these are really three important buttons right here that can help you manage your scene in SketchUp both in SketchUp and in ENSCAPE, synchronized, and so on. Now let's move on really fast. We're gonna get back to all of this stuff later. Here you can insert ENSCAPE objects. Now ENSCAPE objects are objects that are already available in ENSCAPE, and they are basically lights and sound, and you can then link other SketchUp models as proxy. But the most important thing, I believe, are the lights, because you don't have lights in SketchUp because you don't have rendering. But when you need to create like night scene or like some interior design scenes, I think that lights are really important for the realism of your rendering. So these are really important for your scene. We're going to talk about lights and techniques, how to use lights later on. And then you have libraries. So these are from ENSCAPE, but they are not already in ENSCAPE. These are just thumbnails, and this is loading up from the web, so you need to have an internet connection, and then you can bring in your scene all of these assets that are gonna improve, enrich your render. They're gonna make it more realistic with more details. And then you have material libraries, so you have a lot of materials ready to be used, and this is the beauty of ENSCAPE and other similar softwares that gonna give you a lot of assets that you can use already without actually creating them or developing them. So you have a really interesting library here, and you can also edit your own material. And we're gonna talk about how to create lighting, how to create materials, how to set up your rendering in many different ways. So this is just, again, introduction on the main tools. Now you can also upload your 360 views or VR projects here and use also web standalones, and you can manage all your assets here. You can see you need to log in. You will have an account that is going to be registered in order to manage all that stuff into the cloud. And then you have general settings here. We saw that from the preferences we can change the language. We can also change other things here, like to show help panels or not, and if you want to have messages about critical graphics driver wordings, if you want them or not. And here also proxy things and GPU settings. So you can see here we are using hardware accelerated ray tracing, which means that we are working with our GPU. So if it's not supported, probably you need to turn this off. But if you have a strong GPU, this is gonna be really good because it's gonna render real fast. And also you can use other effects from NVIDIA, like the noiser, and here other, you can see here settings given by the newest GPUs. So you can read all the data there if you want, all the info. You can see here turn on and off grass and carpet rendering. If you have grass and carpets from SketchUp, are going to be rendered as actual grass or carpet. And you can see here you have like rest mode, which is kind of pausing the rendering. And so you can see these are like generic preferences that you can use, and you can contact and give feedback to the ENSCAPE team and see other information about ENSCAPE. Now this is all about the main toolbar that you find here in SketchUp, but you also have more tools here, and many of those are also already in here when you open up the viewport. So let's expand now the viewport. Let's concentrate here. Now here you can see some of these are, well, most of these are for visualization, and then we already saw the asset library, so you have it also here. So also shortcut keys can be used, like L here to open up the library. It's gonna open up here on the left side. So again, we can actually insert, and then we can also manipulate objects, but we're gonna see that later. We also have site context, which is a beautiful feature that is gonna bring in a nice context of an area that we want from maps. And also here we can open up an extra panel and a timeline for video editing and animation, so we can set up keyframes, things like that. We can export screenshots, we can export 360, we can export also a standalone application. There you go, I'm just exporting, but I'm gonna stop it right now. We can export a standalone application. I think this is really interesting because if I want to show a project to a client that doesn't have SketchUp or whatever CAD application I'm using, or BIM application like Revit or ArchiCAD, it also doesn't have ENSCAPE. So with this export right here, it will be able to play out the scene like an interactive application on its machine. So I think this is pretty interesting. Now you can see here we have also collaborative annotation. So when we want to collaborate with other people, we can set up messages and things like that. And we can check if we are using a BIM, so building information modeling software, which is not SketchUp. These are more complex software, and you will find Revit video course in our channel. And we will, if you want, you can also search for the topics that you're looking for in the channel. So if you're looking for example, BIM, just type BIM or Revit or ArchiCAD or wherever. You're gonna find videos, you're gonna find lessons in our channel. Or you can also write for comments and ask for assistance, make questions, give suggestions to other users if you don't find what you need. Now, we're not gonna talk about BIM in this video course. We're just gonna focus on the simplest thing, which is gonna be a 3D project, and we're gonna use the simplest software out there, which is SketchUp. So this is just to explain to you what BIM is about. So it's basically gonna show up your information about your families and types, which are parametric objects that you can bring in from, and parametric projects that you can bring on from BIM application. And you can manage the view here. Now you can see I've already some scene in here, but these are actually coming from SketchUp. So if you know how to use SketchUp, you know that you can set up scenes, which are essentially views, and you can also animate this like an animated camera. Now these scenes right here are also going to be imported into SketchUp, so you can import and use those views or scenes. If we are in SketchUp, they're called scenes. Again, we have asset libraries and other types of visualization here, and here you have this mini map, which is really interesting. It's like a video game. I can move around here, just click and drag, so it's gonna show me where I am at the moment in my project. Okay, you can always click here and go back to the original. And then we have other tools here, like for VR and types of navigation, types of VR settings. Visual settings also are pretty important. How you want to visualize your project, change the environmental effects and things like that, change the output also, pretty important. So you have you can set up image, video, exporting, panorama, and so on. And here you have other settings. So here you can type the window title, you can add your own load screen, you can add a watermark, then it's gonna be on the renderings that you're gonna export. Now this is the it's not the trial version, this is the actual monthly version, but if you use the trial version, I think this will be all with the ENSCAPE logo and ENSCAPE watermark, so it's gonna be a little bit different probably. So here are some extra preferences as well on the input, so mouse speed and movement smoothing and things like that. So this is for the walking. This is gonna be the spectator height and spectator width and so on. Now we're gonna come back to most of these things during the video course, but this is again just to make an introduction, a quick introduction of the ENSCAPE interface. As you can see, it's really simple, and again, this is for users that don't want to get into really complex rendering software. They want to make things really easy and fast and user-friendly. Well, ENSCAPE is definitely the best choice for you. And so this will be all for this video. If you enjoyed the video, you want to see more, subscribe and stay updated on ENSCAPE, but also on other real-time rendering ray tracing software that we're gonna experiment later on. We're gonna make more videos, more lessons, and again, type your suggestions if you want for other courses and other videos. Also, if you want to support us, you want to give us a little thank you, you can support us by joining the channel as a supporter. And so don't forget to see the other videos, other video courses that you will find in the channel. This will be all. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.